My first student athletes. We are going to call them the Twin Towers, boys. How are you feeling about this?
Incredible.
How are you feeling?
This is a life-changing opportunity.
Okay, so what do you need from me to make sure you feel good on the court?
So we are going to become the world-saving college athletes, and we are going to wear an Andy Frasco's World-Saving Podcast warm-up before every single game. We're going to look sexy as hell in it.
Yep.
And then we're going to fuck people up.
Let's fucking go. Okay, so tell them the college you guys are at.
We are at the University of Mount Union.
I need you guys fucking rocking.
We're going to dunk
you guys,
on people.
I want you to dunk. You guys are 7. How tall are you guys?
6'10". 6'10".
I need you guys dunking on motherfuckers. I need you out there. I want your dicks on their foreheads, okay?
We got it!
Let's go. Let's start the show. Guys, watch out. Frasco is in the sports business.
That was actually good for having seen each other for a long time. And we're back. Andy Frasco's World Saving Podcast.
Where you been?
I've been everywhere.
New Year's run.
All right, I'll tell you all about it.
Yeah.
I'm Andy Frasco. How's our heads? How's our minds? How's our hearts?
How's
we staying out of trouble, Nick?
Yeah. I've been laying low. I've been reading.
Not gonna lie, you look very Denver today.
Oh yeah. I thought I'd rep.
Matching beanie with the. God, you're just swagged out today.
One of my friends actually, I was at a show and he's like, you kind of have some like low key steez in the way I dress, where it's like you don't realize it, but then you kind of look at my outfit and you're like, oh, this is put together a little bit, isn't it? This isn't it on accident, you know?
Yeah, people think like you're the type of dude who just rolls out of bed, oh, this shirt, but you actually put some thought into your outfit.
You know, nice black oversized T-shirt, some
I'm gonna
joggers.
clap up to you. Way to go.
Air Max 90s, and I'm rocking this because they have our new gummy strain in the store.
Oh yeah,
So
world
I thought I'd
saving.
rep Kush Club.
Oh yeah, the Kush Club.
I love Kush Club.
World saving gummies.
They're delicious. I forgot to bring them over.
Dialed In Gummies is said, you know what? We're gonna try this out, and we sold out on them. Let's go. We're selling them out. So buy them if you're in Denver.
And they're Lakers colors.
Laker colors.
I like how those are just Andy Frasco colors now. I feel like soon the Lakers are going to have enough material to sue you. Right?
Probably. I don't think they'll sue me. But they'll probably give me a cease and desist.
Please stop wearing our jerseys on stage.
No, they gotta love that. I'm like I
don't know. Depends. It's a
I'm
family.
the only one who still reps the Lakers after them being so terrible.
They are. No, they've been good. They beat the Heat without LeBron and AD.
Yeah, Westbrook.
So every once in a while.
So he's playing really good. I'm proud of him. He's taking his ego out of there. So
he got me a fantasy championship one year, so I like him.
I know. Respect that. What did you do for Christmas?
I chilled at home. Me and Julie went out to eat at a nice restaurant.
Have like steamy sex?
I don't comment on my sex life on the podcast.
Mistletoe?
No.
Do you believe in that stuff? Like,
do I believe in what? Santa?
Just like those, like, oh, we should have sex by mistletoe.
Oh, no. I don't believe in Santa Claus anymore.
Why?
I don't know. Been around you long enough. I'm starting to turn into a Hanukkah boy.
I hung out with some old hippies in South Carolina because basically I didn't go home.
In Chucktown?
In Chucktown. They're talking about Santa Claus is like some...
I want to go to Charleston.
Like some Indian tribe or something, or African tribe or something. No,
he's Turkish. St. Nicholas is Turkish. Yeah, yeah. So he's a real guy. There was a St. Nick.
Okay.
He's not Santa Claus, but there was a St. Nicholas. He's a Turkish guy.
Oh.
I don't know that much about him.
And they said they were taking hallucinogens, so that's why they thought the reindeer were flying and stuff. They were taking some like weird Turkish fucking...
Yeah, and then they gave you a speech about how John Mayer's not as good as Jerry Garcia.
Kinda.
Did you have fun though in Charleston? I want to go back to Charleston and play some horn.
I didn't go home and see my family. I was, I'm going through this breakup.
You went to Thanksgiving. Oh, we're talking about the breakup on the pod now?
Oh, man. I don't want to talk about it.
Well, you brought it up. So.
I know. I've been reading this book called Attached.
Oh, God. Yeah? Who wrote it?
Just these psychiatrists and... same dude from Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus.
Oh, that guy?
So I've been like in my feelings because this has been like this is the first relationship I've ever been in. So I read this book. I'm saying, like, am I damaged? Like, why can't I keep a relationship? Why can't I keep anything going in my life besides my music? And
I don't think that's true. I think you have tons of relationships you've kept going.
You're right.
Well, but just one kind of relationship.
Yeah.
But like, John's been in the band for 15 years.
You're right.
That's more complicated than any relationship you've ever had with any woman.
You got a point. You got a point. But they were saying like how types of people attract, And I am an avoidant. Like, I avoid when people get close.
Yeah.
To my, so.
Sort of, yeah.
When I am in an intimate relationship with someone, they call it the anxious. There's like avoidant, anxious, and secure.
I'm over these books. Everybody needs to, why does everybody have to self-diagnose themselves constantly?
Oh, I need help.
No, you don't. You broke up. It happens. You're a guy and you broke up with a chick and it happens.
Okay.
It wasn't like you did anything stupid. Things just run out of gas.
You're right.
Some cars last 3 years. Some cars last 30 years. Some cars are classics. Some cars are lemons, you know?
Wow.
That's a pretty good, actually.
I fucking
analogy.
dig that.
I just thought of that, you know?
Oh my God, I'm gonna clap to you. Okay, that makes sense.
So you, whatever. And now, maybe you don't need a car for a while, you know? Maybe you can just Uber around.
Oh my God, I missed you. I can't have these conversations with the band.
Why? Because they're what? Too judgy?
No, because they're all married and they all just stick
yeah, but
it
I'm
out.
like that. I stick it out. I've been with the same chick for, it'll be 10 years next year.
I know, but you've never fought. You guys never fight. You guys don't even
fight, but not
what do you
like
fight about?
Nothing crazy, just normal stuff.
Dumb,
you know?
Yeah.
Usually just me being in my own little world too much, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, really? Like what? Ooh, I like this.
I mean, just whatever. I'm not the most present guy either.
Ooh, oh.
But I think she likes that because then she can go read. She read 70 books last year.
What do you think about?
Did you see her best books list on Instagram?
No.
She made her like top book in each genre.
She's the best. She's way too good for you.
No, she's still a person.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Respect.
Okay, respect.
What'd you do in New Year's? Buffalo?
I went to Chicago first, hung out with Bayless and their family. God, they think I love Bayless's family. Their kids love the fuck out of me.
He lets you in his home.
It's amazing, and I could be the uncle. I'm like shooting.
I like that you actually have real nieces and nephews. And like, I'm an uncle over there.
Yeah, they don't fuck with me. My nieces and nephews.
Yeah, what's up with that? They're not like that. I feel like if you were my uncle and I was a 12-year-old boy.
Yeah.
How old is he?
Well, he's 3 and she's 9.
I thought he was like, okay, but like if I was 9 and my uncle was you, I'd be fucking going crazy about it.
I don't know. I think it's a little bit mixture of
your sister talking shit.
My sister maybe talking shit or just like agreeing when they don't like say, I don't want to hang out with Andy. I'm like, well, she should say, well, too bad you're going to hang out with
If I was 9, you'd be like my dream person to hang out with.
What? You know what I think it is? I took Kira to my concert too early in her life.
Oh.
Like 3 or 4. And I think I scared the shit out of her.
Oh, yeah. It's like when you watch The Wizard of Oz too young.
She was, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know how The Wizard of Oz is actually like a really good story and it's like sort of, you know, has a good message. But if you're like 4, the flying monkeys and like, it's a scary fucking movie, actually. Yeah.
Oh, she probably thinks I'm like a demon.
So maybe you Wizard of Oz'd her.
I think I Wizard of Oz. Yeah, that's a good point. I'm gonna ask my sister that. I think
Did I Wizard of Oz your oldest child? You're the Wicked Witch. You're supposed to. Yeah, you showed her the monkeys too young.
I don't know. So yeah, I went to I went to my I'm the Godfather over there. The self-proclaimed Godfather. And I hung out with them. We watched movies and stuff, and then I got to. That's what I want to talk to you about. I got to tell you something.
What?
I've been doing cocaine more.
Oh yeah, I don't like that.
I don't like it either. I'm finally off. I'm off the road.
Yeah, it's hard.
And I don't do it, but I did. I think, but this is what I was saying. Like, why do I want it? Why do I want cocaine when I'm sad? Because it's been like 2 weeks of this whole breakup.
It's like a upper.
But that doesn't make me. Cocaine never made me like, like I could see other.
Molly or something.
I see other people who get euphoric.
Maybe you just did it a couple times. You're like, oh yeah, this is fun. Don't do cocaine. You're too.
Yeah, no,
You're kind of like too cool, famous right now for cocaine. That's for like people more around my level. You know what I mean? Like if I die, no one's really gonna care. You know what I mean? But
people love cocaine.
People are relying on you to make money. You can't be doing cocaine.
I know, and I was doing it. I think because I was sad, but.
I mean, that's not...
It was the end of the tour.
Yeah.
Granted, it was the end of the tour. Then I went to Christmas in Chicago. I was off, but I was doing some tutors with some friends, going out.
That'll happen in Chicago.
You know, it was just -20. What do? You go do tutors and fucking have a...
I've been to Chicago.
Jameson, you know. And then I got to Charleston where the cocaine was there as well. So I did it
It's everywhere, that stuff, isn't it?
It's fucking everywhere. But also, like, I was also sad, I was vulnerable, and the tour got off, and I was depleted, and I was like, I couldn't like stay up to go hang out. So it was a whole mixture of things that made me on this little bender. But now that I'm home, I've been home for 4 days. and I finally sleep, and I'm like, yeah. why the fuck did I do that?
It's not good for you. It's not even fun.
It's not fun. My nostrils.
No, it sucks. The risk reward, not good.
Yeah, and I was like, I couldn't get because I was already also sick from the everyone's got that fucking.
Just make sure
thing.
make sure like 2 or 3 people around you do it first.
Yeah,
like when a king would have his people test for poisons, taste tester for the food.
That's also scary too. Like people are just like
they're
trusting their drug dealers that there's no fentanyl in it.
If there's one person you can trust, it's a cocaine dealer. They're some of the most trustworthy people.
I wonder if I know any cocaine dealers that I trust.
Yeah,
there's one guy I trust.
Yeah, but like
that sells like
still
a huge, massive amount of cocaine. I trust him, but also. Why are we talking about this?
I don't know.
Oh, because I was sad and I spent I was in Charleston. So I finally, because my house has been rented and forever, and I finally got it back on the 1st of January, and I slept for 4 days.
Really? Yeah, I came over the other night with Kyle, and you were so out of it.
Yeah.
It wasn't like your usual out of it. It was like a tired out of it. Now I'm looking at Instagram out of it.
I was depleted, man. This whole tour, this whole year was fucking big for us.
Yeah, but you sold a lot of tickies.
I know. I'm proud of our band, dude. That was a big year.
I like that. Good job, guys.
We worked fucking our ass off. Bo, you worked your ass off.
Bo works harder than all of you.
Hell yeah,
he does what you do and then extra stuff.
Hell yeah. And
Andy's got a better body than all of you, too.
He does.
He has the best body by far in the band.
Bo's been getting pussy.
At trivia night, a girl was telling me that she has a crush on him and he's hot.
I love that.
I won't name her.
Bo, you're really getting laid lately. I'm proud of you. I love it, dude. When it rains, it pours.
Guy.
Let's go.
He stands up straight. He's got a nice body. Look you right in the eye.
Let's go, big dog.
How was your New Year's Eve show?
It was crazy. Buffalo. I had this girl text me the night before, like, hey, there's this like thing going around with cake fetishes.
Oh, I saw the video of this.
So like she was like, people are sitting on cakes and people are turned on by them. Like, oh, that's fucking weird. So I started going into this, this, this loophole of watching all this porn where women are just sitting on cakes and shit. I'm like, damn, this is pretty intense. And people
nice
are like,
to see a cake where they're not sexualizing children for once, At least they're keeping it wholesome. Yeah.
So she's like, I'm like a burlesque dancer. I'll do a splits on the cake. I'm like, yeah, fuck it. I'm down. So I told her to send her to Bo. Like, and I didn't think it was going to happen. She made a cake.
She made a cake for
She made a cake.
She baked it?
Yeah.
I think I would go store-bought there.
Shout out to Casual Hands. Send this up.
It's like that's a store-bought situation.
Yeah, no, but it was really nice. And there was like 40 candles on it, so we put it on for birthday song. Today's my birthday, and the cake is on. And then it was just lighting, and she's burlesquing, and I didn't know she had like googly eyes on her ass.
Yeah, I saw that.
And then she got on stage, so she was like, when the last note hits, I'll do the splits. But I was like kind of already on mushrooms and like adrenaline from selling out that big ass room. So I wasn't like, I was kind of dazing off at the end of the song. They're like, blow out the candles.
Oh, before she
was
burns
about
herself?
to get burned.
What if she got burned?
I'm like, because I was thinking like, damn, is she really this good where she could just like do the splits and all the candles get burned out and stuff?
You thought she was going to put it out with her flesh?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if she goes fast enough.
I've seen some crazy circus shit like that.
No, yeah. If she went fast enough, it could happen.
So she's like, blow it out. I'm like, oh, so I blew it out. And then she put it out splits, and it was amazing. And it was like, it was so clean. And none of the frosting was anywhere on the keyboard. It was straight in the vagina, dude.
It's the cleanest gimmick you've had.
It was a great gimmick. I can't even get that cleanness when I kiss Floyd on the mouth.
Are you guys still kissing? How's that going?
A little bit. He gave me a New Year's Eve kiss. That was sweet. I liked it.
Ugh. I think we should leave the kissing thing in 2022.
I think it's over.
I think we're over the kissing thing.
Yeah, well, it's also the boys. I can't go to big something and like start kissing them on the mouth. They're not gonna fall for it. They're
fall for it. Don't say fall for it. It sounds like that sounds bad. Your
not
Honor,
like that.
Your Honor, Exhibit
not
B.
like that.
Your Honor, he said they are falling for it. Your Honor,
not like that.
Yeah. I don't know.
But Floyd. But he's like. You know what's sweet about Floyd too? I was like, I just been super sad last couple weeks. I was on tour. I was doing these shows, and like, I've never had to break up with someone.
Yeah.
And so he's like, we were talking one day. It was like 2 a.m. We're about to get on the bus to get to the hotel. He's like,
Floyd.
You could call me sometime.
You're gonna call me sometime if you ever need to talk.
I was like, Floyd, thank you.
If you ever need to, just call me. Just call the island and they'll come find me.
Why does he sound like Sean Connery?
That's kind of, he has like that low, that's kind of how he sounds, but I just can't.
He goes like, yeah.
That's his laugh.
Anytime you want it. Yep. So,
if you ever need anything, just go ahead and call me.
I even forgot to even. So he, so he got me through it a little bit. Speaking of killing things, dialed in gummies are killing it with the gummies.
Goomers.
They sponsored this show, and it's season. I can't believe it's season.
So
6.
it's season 6.
Season 6.
Nice. The devil's number.
So Dialed in Gummies is sponsoring the whole season 6.
Yeah,
So
they
thank
love
you,
us.
Dialed in Gummies.
So
Go
if
fucking
you want
Colorado, get some Dialed in
They're
Gummies.
delicious. They're solventless. They're homogenized. And they have cool artwork. And they're strand specific. And they're pretty affordable.
Hell yeah, they are pretty affordable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So get.
I mean, they're a
Dialed
little
in
more
Gummies.
expensive than some other gummies, but they're also 2 to 3 times better. So
You know who else likes weed?
what? Who?
Margaret Cho. She's on the show tonight.
Oh,
wow.
man.
Big show tonight. Margaret Cho. It was a great conversation. I just did it this morning.
Yeah, she's like, she's had like a nice 30-year career in comedy.
Oh, yeah. And she's dealt with
She's a
addictions. And we talked about her sex life. We talked about the dominatrix, how she likes to get
She
put-
was a
roped
dominatrix,
up.
I thought, though.
Yeah, we talked about her heroin addiction.
And did you talk about her having a sitcom in the 90s?
Yeah, and
that had to
talked
be
about
wild. Like, people, if like you're younger now, like the cultural impact you would have as a comedian if you had your own sitcom was tenfold what it is now.
because there was only
30
3 channels.
Well, no, this is the 90s. This isn't like the
No, she
60s.
said there was only 3 channels. That
network,
people, network
yeah.
channels.
Yeah, you're right. Okay. I mean, cable existed, but you're right.
She was saying Fox was only the weekends.
Yeah,
back then.
Fox is like started in the late 80s. Like Married with Children, I think was their first show.
Mm-hmm.
But like back then, 20 to 30 million people, and now if you have a sitcom like that, it's like on Netflix and it gets canceled after 3 episodes.
Yeah. So that was a great conversation. You're gonna love this interview with Margaret Cho.
She's a wild one.
I'm here for a couple months, buddy.
Woo!
Me and you. And we should tell them we changed the format a little bit. So every month we're gonna do 3
Formats.
interviews,
And then just me and Andy.
and then at the end of every month we'll do a recap of the month for the whole episode. Nick and I.
Yeah.
So 3 interviews a month, and you get Nick and
And we're
I the best, and we'll be opening the whole time. So.
And we're gonna have better guests,
All right, I'm out. I'm done.
Yeah, me too.
All right, bye. All right, next up on the interview hour, we have Margaret Cho. Yes, big time actress, big time comedian, big start to season 6 of the podcast. Margaret was amazing. She was very honest about her addictions, her love life. She used to date Quentin Tarantino. She was on a huge show that got, canceled over some drama, and it was kind of bullshit why it got canceled, and I'm Team Margaret on it. But I think you're going to really love this interview. She's a legend. And to start season 6 with this, I'm excited. So ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy Margaret Cho. How you doing, Margaret?
I'm doing great. It's there's a bomb cyclone outside, but I'm doing really well.
Where are you living right now?
I'm in Los Angeles. Yeah.
But let's talk about, I got so much to talk to you about. I'm a musician and kind of am a free spirit. Seems like you. How hard is it to be authentic with your art when, you've been chastised in the past for being honest with how you are as a person?
It's sort of like you got to just turn that off. You have to turn off the sort of critical voice, because the problem is the critical voice is really the major enemy to art, because we just shut it down no matter what. Like, we shut down our artistic intention because we're just like, oh, nobody's going to like this. Well, and now I realize I'm actually the ideal audience. I'm going to like this. So every art thing I do, I try to reframe it like I'm the primary audience. And so that leaves me a little freer to know, because I have sort of stopped criticizing my own intention, my own work. And then, that helps a lot, because I think once you do that, once you have the freedom to do that, then you can sort of do anything artistically. How
long did it take you to get to that point in your soul?
that's a lifetime. That's a lifetime's worth of work. And lately, it's gotten a lot easier. I think silencing that inner critic, it takes a lifetime, and it's really, really hard, especially when you grow up in a sort of very narrow confines of identity. Like, so I'm, an Asian American woman. When you're like an immigrant, you're really encouraged not to be seen because you're sort of un-Americanness is so visible. So you're kind of like, your silence is really encouraged in really subtle ways, but it's strong over time.
Right.
So that is something that I've had to constantly fight, that kind of upbringing and that kind of silencing, because it's really important to create as an artist. That's our whole life's work. And so we can't conquer our own voice of like disagreement. We can't do anything. So that's the first thing, is to deal with that.
Yeah. And it's like when people, is that the reason why you got into art in the first place? Is because everyone was categorizing you as someone who needs to, shut the fuck up or like, and just live?
Yeah, maybe. I think it's also like, it was just something that I always knew that I would do. Like, I always knew I was going to be a comedian, even before I knew what the profession was or understood. It's almost like I just chose it before. Like, when you're a Korean and you're 100 days old, they set like all these things around you. They put like a spoon or a fork or chopsticks, and then or a pen or money. And what you pick, or paintbrush, what you pick sort of dictates what you're going to be in your life. So I got a pen.
Oh.
So it's going to be a writer. So that, I think it's like, that was something like, I just knew that was what I was going to do. Not that I was necessarily encouraged to do that, of course, as a kid, but your internal purpose for me was already built in. I already knew this was like what was going to be my career.
Yeah, and how hard is to establish your internal purpose when maybe your parents didn't want you to do this? Were your parents supportive?
They were supportive later. They just didn't understand what it was. They don't have a tradition of stand-up comedy in Korea. Yeah. They have a long tradition of stand-up comedy in Japan.
Oh, really?
Interesting. In Japan, stand-up comedy has been performed for centuries, actually, a form of it. But they didn't really have that in Korea. They have like satirical plays. They have kind of like more of like theater that's based on fables. It's always very class-based. Like there's like this incredible creature that eats rich people. And so it's like stuff
really?
Like that. There's like a theater tradition. There's like always like, it's always class-based. Everybody's reversed. Like the monks are always really sexually promiscuous. There's all this stuff like going on, but it's all theater-based. In stand-up comedy in Japan, it's like really just one narrator.
Yeah.
Telling the story. So I think they just didn't understand actually like the frame of it or what it was. But when I started to do television, then they really were like excited. So, and I became successful pretty early, still in my late teens. So
how old were you when
I had an easy...
How old were you when it started taking off for you?
Probably about 18.
18? No shit.
18, 19.
Do you...
yeah, I started to do very well.
Do you think my parents, I don't know, I started my career really early too, and my parents didn't start seeing my value until I started making money. Were your parents like that?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Because that was a concrete assessment of like success. That was where they could understand that this is actually going somewhere.
Did you believe in those values?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's totally a legitimate way of assessing what you're doing. Although
it's true.
Not always.
Yeah.
Not always. Some people never make money, throughout their career, and that's okay too. I guess it just depends what your priorities are.
Yeah, you know, looking at
and the society that you're living in.
True. And looking in retrospect, you know, the art you were doing when you were 18, do you, what's that dog? That's your dog?
This is Lucia.
Hey, Lucia. How you doing? What about now that you look back on the art you were doing when you were 18? Do you, are you cringe about it, or do you still think it was great for the time of your life?
Oh, I thought it was great. You know, it's like really, to me, it's really encouraging. I think I'm better in like just unaffected by society or anything. I'm like really a fan of my younger work. I think I'm like really punk rock. I'm really into it. I really like it. I feel like cringy is my cringy period is probably more like 2010s, where I was really like in a weird color wheel where I was mixing warm and bright color, like warm and cold color. Like when you mix like a pink and orange, there's a problem.
No, I hear that. So what were you doing in 2010 that you felt that you regretted?
I think it was just like the time period. I think it's the time period. I think we thought we were in the future, but we were really not.
Yeah.
So there's I thought I was like really an adult, but I was really not. So that's more, to me, that's more cringy, because it's just like, it's more the era that's cringy.
Yeah. So when your show got canceled, did you feel like you're having kind of like you didn't have an identity anymore? Did you feel like you had to go full raunchiness, or how was that era going into the 2010s for you?
Well, that was like, I was when I was doing television then, it was like 1994. So it was almost a totally different era. But I really became a better comedian from doing television and getting massively like disappointed by the industry as it was, you know. So there's a lot of benefit to disappointment in art, because you can like go back and realize, okay, well, what's really important to me? It's like the self-expression or fitting into a kind of role that's set aside by mainstream entertainment, which, you know, now it's a lot broader, because in 1994, they didn't even have cable, really.
Right.
All that stuff was really new. And like HBO just sort of started it. And they only had 3 networks, and Fox was only available, I think, on the weekends, or like sometimes during the week. It was like very like rare. So, you know, we really don't remember how limited television was. It was all about indie filmmaking,
right? Which
to me was my inspiration. The films that I really loved, like Reservoir Dogs, and you know, like all of those really early great indie films, which I think are so important.
Yeah, you know, you talk about like the movies that really inspired you, and then you were with someone, you know, you were with Quentin Tarantino for a little bit too, who made these amazing movies. What did you guys learn in the process of art when you're dating Quentin?
Well, it was like, it was really like a being with a king. And then whenever we would like go out and we would see John Travolta, it was like a king meeting the Pope. It was like the new king meeting the Pope. I mean, that level of like show business doesn't really exist anymore.
I know.
Which is too bad, because I think there was a kind of like mystique about these old movies. I mean, I'm from like kind of a weird old, like the very remnants of old Hollywood, like the real old guard, like Milton Berle.
Yeah.
Like those early days of like going to the Friars Club and like, don't you dare park in Milton Berle's parking space. That kind of stuff, which I think is like, it's very different. You know, now you could park in anybody's parking space. Yeah.
No, it's so true. And, you know, was it intimidating hanging out with all, because you weren't a slouch either. You were badass. You were at top of your game in the 90s too. Like, what was that like? Were you intimidated by all that fame around you?
No, I think I was just like such a baby. Like I didn't really understand. And I was just like watching it unfold, and seeing it was really interesting. So to me, it was like kind of constantly being in the space of like, is this actually really happening? Is this real, or is this some kind of a dream? But
Right.
I really appreciate it, and I think it's something that I'm like, oh, I should actually write a book. I think I have to wait till everybody really does die.
Yeah, no.
So I'm really trying to stay alive
Yeah.
so that I can write the definitive tell-all showbiz memoir.
It's like it was when it's like cocaine and drugs were glamorous. It's now it's like psychedelics are glamorous. Like when you're going through your phases, how was dealing with the alcoholism and dealing with the addictions? Was it something everyone was dealing with, so it didn't really affect you, or what was it like?
No, that stuff to me is like much more of a solitary thing. Like I'm not a partier per se. I'm really like in my house alone, OD'd, dead, with my body bloating and my cat's eating me. Like it's like really like I'm definitely not a I can't do cocaine. I have a deviated septum, which I didn't do cocaine to get. I just have one. Was born with it. So I could never do cocaine. I don't like uppers. I'm more of like heroin, fentanyl, not fentanyl, because that was out before I got sober. I was out after I got sober. So it's good because I probably would just die.
Yeah, especially now with all this shit going on.
Yeah, you can't really do drugs anymore because you'll just die. Like no matter what you get, it's going to have like fentanyl in it. I think.
Yeah, it's insane.
You have to have a really high tolerance if you're going to try anything. So don't even start. Anybody trying to do drugs now, you can't. It's too hard. But
Right.
It's like I don't do drugs in a social manner. So it's not fun for anybody. It's not fun, certainly for the people who find my rotting skeleton.
Right.
I don't think it's a good idea.
Did any of your friends find you OD'd? Like who found you when you're passed out on your floor?
No. I would always like immediately kind of try to like wake up and get out of it, or for some reason, I never completely died, which is good. I'm still alive. Yeah. But it's like, the way that I quote unquote party is more akin to that than it is. But that's also my generation too. Like that's more like the grunge era of doing drugs. It's really not very romantic.
Yeah. What do you think made you go inward with those inward type of drugs?
I just like that kind of experience. I think, I like marijuana. So if you sort of either like, uppers or downers, I think if you're a drug person in general, I never really got into psychedelics. The one psychedelic that I did do that was so intense was DMT, and it only lasts for about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But it feels like hours. And when you do DMT, you realize that time is really a social construct.
Yeah.
We are just told what time is. And when you do DMT, you're like, oh, time actually isn't real. It's just something that we've all agreed exists.
It's so true.
And it's so trippy.
Give me your DMT experience.
I was with two of my friends, and we did it, and then they all turned into giant vines. Like their bodies turned green.
What?
And they were like 30 feet tall, and they grew like all these like leaves and stems. And then their heads were huge blooms of tulips that just totally bloomed and pollinated each other as they were talking.
Yeah.
And I'm like looking at them, and the whole experience was 5 minutes. I didn't turn into a flower. I was the same. They turned into total flower beings that were talking to me. It was so visually arresting, but not scary. but just I've never seen anything like that. Like hallucinogens don't affect me visually. The only other time they did was once in the 80s in San Francisco. I think it may have been peyote or something, something like that, or mescaline. I don't know, something that was, I'm not sure exactly what it was. And there was a mastodon in the kitchen, which
Hell yeah.
Is really unusual.
Did it scare you or were you amused by it?
No, I was just like, there's actually a mastodon in here. Do you think we should stay in here? They're like, actually, it's not there. It's extinct. It's not possible for it to be there. Okay. And so it's that kind of stuff. I think the rarity of the visual experience, you know, to me, when people like say like, oh, it's like you see all this stuff. I never really saw anything like with LSD. I never saw traces.
Yeah.
Because when I was doing a lot of acid, people would look at the TV and pull the static out of the TV.
Yeah.
And that I never saw that.
Yeah, I take a lot of hallucinogens too, and I never got there. Even with DMT, I never got to that point where the aliens are pulling me into the spaceship. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's something about DMT where, for me, I think it was that one time was just so incredible, but it also made me not want to revisit it.
Yeah,
like I don't think that's a good idea.
It seems like you don't get scared a lot about stuff like that. Has there ever been a point in your life where you were truly scared?
One time I was living in a house in Atlanta. I was working on a show. This is in the 2010s. And the house that I was living in, it was like a really weird, like kind of suburban tract home, but it was seriously haunted, I think. I always felt very uneasy there. And one night somebody got in bed with me and I could feel the weight. I could feel the covers flipping over and I could feel the weight of somebody getting in. And it could have been a dream also. Right. But it felt so real. And by the time I got the courage to turn around, there was nothing there. But it was so like the weirdness of feeling the weight of a body.
Yeah.
Of just something very casually getting in bed with you.
Yeah.
That was the only time, really, I think.
Oh, God. Do you believe in all that? Do you believe in spirits and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. My house now is reportedly haunted. My house is 100 years old.
Wow.
It's reportedly haunted. I haven't experienced anything, but the Koreans often believe like there's like your ancestors are always sort of there. And then so like the spiritual component of our culture is very alive, and that we have death days that we celebrate along with like people who have died. We have their birthdays we celebrate. And then certain times, like you will create like banquets for dead people with all of their favorite food, but you don't have to prepare all the food. What you do is you take like paper towels and then pin the food around the towel so it looks like there's a big pile of food.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to eat it.
Right.
So it's like you could do like fake food, or you can buy like for Chinese things, like you can buy like a fake iPhone and burn it. And then like when Joan Rivers died, I went to Hong Kong and I bought a bunch of jewelry and cookies, and I bought her a fake Yorkie. And I went to the temple and I offered it to her so that she would have like a nice handbag and a dog and all this stuff. So, you know, you make an offering and you like take it to the temple and they send it. So there's like full stores that you can buy paper items for the dead. And then what my favorite gay Cantonese pop star who died in the 90s, he was like just this amazing actor and singer, and he had died before the invention of iPhones. So I bought him the newest iPhone paper version, and I drew a grinder on it, and I burned it in the temple so that he would have grinder in the afterlife.
I fucking love it.
So,
I'm clapping to that.
Like that.
I'm clapping to that. you know, you talk about Joan being so important to you. How important was that relationship with you? Were you guys close?
Yes, yes. She was so, I mean, I really admired her and I was really in awe of her all the time. And, you know, I still, I really miss her. I think she would have had a lot of fun.
Right.
Especially now. I think, like, especially during the pandemic, she would have great masks and great pandemic fashion and had a good time at home. And
Yeah.
I think, you know, yeah, her voice was really impactful for me as, you know, a woman who was successful later in life and a comedian and crass. There's just so much about her that I really admire. And she was a good friend and somebody who just impressed me all the time. So I really love her.
What type of advice did she give you when you're going through your downfall? Not downfall, but like during those early years where you felt like you're being misunderstood.
She would just always say, like, it will get better when I got older, that they will always want what I have to offer the older that I get. And that now is when we shine. You know, those of us who were ugly in high school, now we get to shine. And I'm like, who are you calling ugly, you bitch? And she was like, you know what I mean? I'm like, no, I don't. And so she was really encouraging about how, like, you can get to a place of really achieving more the older that you get. If you're a comedian, it's really better to be older. It's better. It's the opposite of like young ingenue actresses who don't have that experience or getting old in front of the camera. For us, it's much better. So she's right about that.
What about sexuality? Did she teach you how to be open with your sexuality?
No, I think that was more probably the gay men in my life
Really?
who were very, you know, just very open to experience. And really, they were outlaws, like to be gay and tattooed and in thruples in the 70s.
Yeah.
Was so outlaw.
Yeah.
You know, and so it was the gay men that I grew up around who really were so incredibly vocal about their sexuality, political about who they were. That was really, I think, really stunning. So that I'm really lucky that way.
Yeah, and growing up in San Francisco, it was still hard to be open as a gay man or gay woman?
Well, not necessarily, but in certain avenues, yes. Like San Francisco is actually, in a lot of ways, very conservative, which is super weird.
Yeah.
Because it's an old port city, which is like heavily, it's very Italian American, which a lot of Italian American culture is very patriarchal, very masculine identified. It's kind of an old boys club. And then there's a lot of old money in San Francisco as well.
Right.
So you have this underneath the sort of like celebratory, artistic, hippie side. There is a very commerce-driven, very conservative, maybe less politically conservative, but more fiscally conservative. And you see that now actually a lot with the tech bro side of San Francisco. Yeah. Which is very like, you know, they're not social conservatives necessarily. They just want to make money, which, and the sort of the fiscal conservatism sort of overrides everything. Right. So it is a kind of, San Francisco is a very interesting place because the old money side of it always sort of renews itself and comes back. So that kind of very heavily driven, sort of, it's like an immigrant trying to prove their Americanness and prove their financial prowess as a source of pride, and it's definitely masculine identified. So that's what I see San Francisco as.
Do you think the new money that's moving into San Francisco is changing San Francisco for the worse?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's totally different. It's more not changing it because of anything, but that it's pricing out the weirdos.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, how do you affect how do you ruin an art city that is such cultured with art and you just throw these guys who just like to have missionary sex and come in a sock, you know? Like,
well, but they also really love things in their ass. So that's still the kind of side that's very, very wild. And, there's still a side of San Francisco that is really crazy. And I think that's always going to be there. I think that's also whenever there's a lot of money, there's a lot of lawlessness, which I think that's also kind of great.
Yeah.
So that adds to the kind of experience of decadence, which I really admire.
What type of lawlessness did you like more? San Francisco lawlessness or this old Hollywood lawlessness? And
I think San Francisco, the craziness of San Francisco, like in the second tech boom. So this would be like 2008 to like 2012, 13.
Yeah.
There was a lot of like stuff. I would go to big parties at the Armory, which is where kink.com was based. Just so they had bought this like 158-year-old building and put porn studios there. And I would go to parties there and I would just roller skate because there was like, it was all linoleum, the whole building. So you could just skate the whole building. You probably skateboard down the stairs. They're all marble. And there was just like porn happening in every different room. And there was a river running under the building. And then under the building, that's where they would do, I don't like it. They would do the things where they would hang on hooks from their back.
Ooh. Yeah.
You know, those kind of people?
Oh, yeah.
The extreme blade piercing people?
Yeah.
Where they would be like, it was so scary to me because they would be like this rushing river of water and then hanging from hooks from their back in like leather lingerie. I'm like, no. And they're asking me, do you want to play? I'm like, no.
Yeah.
And roller skate away really
Yeah.
It was like really scary.
Yeah, that's got to be scary. Like, what was? Do you think that was the most intense thing you saw at these parties, or were you seeing like? Yeah,
I mean then there was just like so much cocaine because they're so rich, and then everybody lived on the top floor. So because that was the most, they had like heating and like hot water and like nice stuff. So they had like all had their oil paintings in front of their rooms. This is a huge building. This is like a huge like municipal building. It's like I think part of the entryway. I think they actually filmed part of Star Wars when they had like this huge archway where they could film I don't know if it's where the Millennium Falcon is, but I think they filmed part of different crazy sci-fi movies there. But it's a huge place. So they would have their oil paintings in the top floor. And in every room, there was something happening all the time. And now I think it's like a shopping complex or something. But it was really I just would go and like roller skate between the rooms and see different things happening.
Did you ever like get addicted to sex like you got addicted to heroin or?
No, because I really think that there's part of me that's deeply asexual.
Yeah.
So I think that I look at sex as a kind of way to get some kind of validation, which is like it's not for pleasure. It's for some kind of social gain, not necessarily financial gain, but more like a credit in terms of like, oh, this makes me cool.
Yeah.
If I'm involved in this makes me cool.
Yeah.
And it's actually not really pleasurable for me. It's strangely never been. And it's probably why I like drugs, is because drugs sort of made sex more possible for me to enjoy, because I was just high,
Mm-hmm.
and then whatever was happening was happening. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I have like not been sexually active for a while, and it's been really great.
Yeah.
It feels really right.
I feel that way too.
But it feels good to not be.
It's so fascinating. So what what got you into like dominatrix and stuff? If you didn't really enjoy the sex itself, like what were you into with the dominatrix
Well,
stuff?
domination is not sexual.
Oh,
Like, domination is really, for me, like, that's really just, it's technical, it's skill. It's also getting into somebody's head.
Mm-hmm.
It's, to me, it's the most, it's like playing chess with somebody's phobias.
Yeah. Oh shit.
And insecurities, and all the way to terrors. Like, you're sort of taking all the sort of like little pieces of their psyche and moving them around. I think a really satisfying relationship I had was the young woman who, just before the pandemic, who looked exactly like me, but she was about 30 years younger than me.
Mm-hmm.
And so everybody thought she was my daughter, which is so embarrassing. But she and I had this thing where we were like, okay, pain only. So we're just going to do like, we were trying to learn how to do like Japanese bondage and stuff, and like suspension. And of course, like we were being taught by Midori, who's a very important shibari Japanese bondage instructor. She's like the master of all masters when it comes to rope bondage. So we were taking classes from her, and then everything shut down. So I'm sure that, we could continue, but it was really fun because it was all about the sort of mastery of learning knots, and it's super dorky. It's like so not sexual to me. It's like really like, for me, it's just about learning a skill, which I think is really interesting.
Yeah, you're like a sexual sailor.
Yeah, it's like sailor, it's like knots, it's like suspension, it's like engineering. It's cool.
Is there any like sexual partner through this dominatrix period where they just really fucked with your head and really got to you? What was the moment?
No, that wasn't anything good like that. I wish. I mean, that would be great. But I'm so disconnected that I'm like, I don't know. Like, nobody can get in my head that way because my body's sort of not connected to my mind. So I'm like, I'm like really disassociated all the time. I'm not sure. I wish that would happen. That would be really cool.
Yeah.
Like I would pay for that. Like, I would definitely pay for like a good like dominatrix. Like, I would definitely get into it. There are things that I've seen that I'm like, I wish that I could get into that, but I really don't understand it. There was this guy who, he was really cool. He was a lawyer, and he had a junk, like a Chinese schooner. Those Chinese boats that junk.
Yeah.
And he lived on the junk. It was really fancy. And he had a veterinary suction machine that would suck out like fluids during surgery for animals.
Right.
And he would attach a suction cup to it, a large cup to it. And he would enlarge his penis to the size of a basketball.
What?
It would take about 24 hours to get it to the, like, he would take it off and go to the bathroom and have dinner or whatever and come back and reattach the suction cup. And then it would like stay the size of a basketball for a day or so without the suction.
Wow.
And he would be super high from it, like sexually stimulated, but also high.
Right.
He didn't do drugs. He didn't drink alcohol. That was his sex.
Right.
And he would bring it to clubs and show it.
What, his dick?
In a room at a club.
Just the basketball-sized dick. What do you wear?
Yeah.
Do you wear like a Scottish dress or how do you...
it was a kilt. It was a kilt.
Yeah.
It was kilt.
Yeah.
But he was not British, but he would wear a kilt. And he was that was so impressive to me.
Yeah.
I was like, that is incredible. And he was so happy. And I feel like he's probably died now. He was in his mid-70s also. That was the other thing.
Yeah.
He was very
I wonder what his
old,
dick
and this
looked
was
like.
in the 90s.
I wonder what his dick looked like deflated.
It was normal.
It was really?
It was normal. It was just like a normal size. Maybe a little bit large on the larger size.
Yeah.
But totally like normal. It would go back to normal.
Wow.
It would snap back, but it took a long time.
Yeah.
Because it took a long time to get that big. It would take just as long to snap back. But
so could he come?
I never saw that.
Yeah.
It wasn't about that.
Yeah. 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 It's about the...
So it's sort of like about the spectacle of doing it. So I think it was a combination of sort of body modification. It's like the people who hang from hooks. They would be super high from it as well. It's kind of endorphins.
Mm-hmm.
It's pain. So it's this endorphin rush. It's the kind of exhibition of it.
Yeah.
But also it's like, what is that? It's like so amazing. I'm like, in the same way that I don't think I want to get hung by hooks in my back. I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
This seems more accessible.
Right.
But I don't know how to, I'm just like, I don't even know.
And you talk about this separation. And when you finally went into the sober house, how are they talking to you about, like, what made you finally say, all right, enough is enough and I'm going to clean up for good?
Well, I didn't have a choice. Like, I was like put there outside of my own, I had an intervention. I didn't want to go.
Tell me what happened.
No, all my friends got together and put me in the rehab, and I would stay there for a year and a half. Oh, I was actually a year and 9 months, but I loved it. Yeah. I really didn't want to go. And then when I went there, I didn't want to leave because it was like so great to me. I love coloring.
Yeah.
I love like a coloring book. I love art. I like to make art. So to me, it was like just time to spend on art and hang with people. And, you see how difficult alcoholism and drug addiction, it just is so intense. Like 16 people at my facility died.
Oh my God.
They were all young and beautiful. And some of them were super famous, super successful. And
right.
Like, what the hell? Like, how is that? It's not right. But, it's like, it's deadly. So I just want to live. Yeah. I just realized I wanted to live.
Were you ever suicidal?
Not purposefully, but not, it's like, I would just do it when I was high.
Right.
So I didn't know that I was.
Yeah.
So that's like not cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's like, I think it's more, when you get out of that and you get to know yourself, it's a lot more fun.
Yeah, totally. And now that you get to know yourself and now that you know that you want to live, what are you living for now?
I have many cats. I have my dog. I have hundreds of plants.
Yeah.
I have 28 bird feeders that
holy shit. Are you serious?
The birds are really upset because of the rain.
Yeah.
But the bird feeders you have to clean all the time because there's bird flu.
Oh,
so
yeah.
it's quite a like I do spend a lot of time helping creatures live. I do shows. I did a show, a really fun show last night, and it was really cool. John Mulaney came and did that, which is really awesome. He's amazing.
Yeah.
He's really about sort of like a rough road of like getting to sobriety. That's an intense experience that he's had.
Right.
And so tonight I'm doing a show with Jeff Tweedy, which is really cool. And
sick.
So like I get to do like art stuff and shows. I do shows. I'll go on tour this spring all over the place, which is really great. But, you know, my main focus is my home life and my animals and my sobriety. Those are the things that really keep me going.
That's great. And do you feel like you have to do art now because you have to or because you want to? What's your mind state on art right now?
I just love it. I just love it. Like I love to just create, and I love to pick up like a new instrument. So now I have this new like weird MIDI keyboard that does like Chamberlain sounds. I'm trying to figure out what that is. And
sick.
So I like to sort of figure out like new things to play, and it's all interesting. Like I'm writing songs right now for a film as a sort of like, so I'm a fake band. So it's like Gem and the Holograms, but I'm Gem, but I'm doing songs that I'll probably voice and play, but I won't play the actual singer on the screen. So we'll see. So I'm doing that for a film, and so that's fun. So I'm doing different things that are really exciting and interesting, and I'm also a gamer. So I love
what do you like?
VR. I am trying to figure out Bone Lab. I can't get anywhere. It's so hard.
Yeah.
I just have the frying pan. I'm only at the frying pan, but it's really fun. And I like doing VR meditation, which is really cool.
Yeah, tell me, what do you think of the state of the film industry in 2023 with like not as many people going to movies, and what do you think art's going to in film?
Film is still stunning. Film is still so moving. I just saw probably one of my favorite films. It's probably going to be my favorite film. I keep watching it over and over. It's Decision to Leave, which is Park Chan-wook's film. He made Old Boy and my other favorite film, Lady Vengeance, and The Handmaiden. And he is like so amazing. So his latest film, Decision to Leave, was playing in theaters. Now it's playing on Mubi. It is so stunning. So it's just probably my favorite movie right now. And I feel like film, even though there's a lot streaming, you can't beat the experience of going to a movie theater to see a movie. And there's nothing better than that. But the accessibility of film is really amazing. And the greatest streaming services are Mubi, Shudder, and Tubi. And also HBO Max has great movies as well.
Yeah. What's Tubi?
You can watch like Citizen Kane. Tubi is a free service that's kind of like if they took all of the big box movies, you know, when the VCR, VHS movies had the big box, it was always like Jim Cotta or like any kind of Jean-Claude Van Damme or something like Snuff.
Yeah.
Like really sleazy content.
Yeah.
Or like really crazy, intense, distressing movies like Martyrs. Those are all on Tubi.
Oh, let's go. That's the type of shit I like.
It's the terrifying stuff. Also a lot on Canopy. So Tubi's free. Canopy is free. Canopy is available through the library if you have a library card.
Oh, great.
You can get movies on Canopy. The Canopy is so... The catalog is so deep. So you can go from like really obscure silent films to like the most distressing, upsetting... they have like some crazy horror, some crazy giallo. The horror content, which I love horror movies, is really horror right now is probably better than it's ever been. Like on Netflix, like The Incantation, on Tubi, The Medium, The Sadness. If it's got "the" in front of it, it's the shit.
What about that movie with Ed the Clown? The Punisher 2 or something, or The Punisher?
Oh, Terrifier.
Terrifier. I heard that's fucked up.
Terrifier's great.
Yeah.
I haven't seen 2. I want to see 2 in the theater.
Yeah.
I'm kind of waiting like to go to like a midnight of that. And there's also like a big range of terror or horror now that's like not really gory.
Right.
Which is all like psychological. So there's the scariest one is called Speak No Evil.
Oh, fuck.
I think it's Nordic.
Yeah.
It's on Shudder. It's like the most upsetting. I still like freak out. There's no gore. It's
I
all
love that. Mind
social
fucking.
terrors.
Yeah, mind fucking.
It's super upsetting. It's like super upsetting to the point of like, you can't even believe, like, because it's sort of real life happening and it's heightened. But yeah, Speak No Evil is really, it's really, really upsetting. So
I'll check
Shudder's
that
very
out.
good.
You know, I want to go back. I know we have a little time left, but I want to go back into, you know, your love for music and who are some of the musicians in your life that's really inspired you artistically? Like in friendships, with conversations you having that you talk about art. Is it Tweety? Is it?
Oh, I think it's definitely John Bryan.
Oh,
of anybody who's taught me the most about music and about listening and about playing and about instruments and about just the life of a musician. You know, to me, he's really the ultimate, somebody that I've been friends with and just idolized for 30 years. You know, he's the king of any of that. You know, and you know, we all have that guy.
Yeah.
He's got his guy is Jim Keltner.
Oh, wow.
Who's an incredible drummer for like, that's his sort of like a musical idol. So we all have sort of like the legacy, but
did you ever go to that?
John is like really amazing.
Did you ever go to that John Bryan residency at the Largo?
Oh yeah. All the time.
I was obsessed with that.
And he's so special. And I adore him, and I haven't seen him for a while, but he's really incredible everything. Just artist, mentor, really cool guy.
It's awesome. How hard is it to does it stress you out making a new set every year?
No, I think it's a very natural. I used to forget everything, so I have to like write new things.
Yeah, I
just don't know how anything goes. I have to either like record it and write it out, or I'll forget it. So
yeah,
I need to have it sort of on record. But then yeah, it's not hard to create.
No,
it's hard to remember.
Yeah. Was Jerry Seinfeld an asshole when you opened for him?
No, he's the best.
Yeah? What was it like touring with Jerry in those
what
beginning
I love
years?
About him is that like he really he's just he's got a love of comedy. He has he's such a fan of the art form.
Mm-hmm.
And that is really incredible for somebody that is as accomplished as he is to really love it as much as he does. He's really amazing. He's such a sweet man, and I really admire him. I really love him.
Do you think he helped you catapult your career stand-up wise in the 90s?
Absolutely. And he gave me a lot of confidence, which I think is kind of like the ultimate, you know? So he gave me a lot of confidence in what I was able to do. And he still does. He's a great, great person.
I love it. Margaret, this has been so wonderful. Thank you so much for being vulnerable like this. We're normally a music show, so to have someone like you on the show is very special to us. And I appreciate it. So tell me a little bit more about the music. Tell me what is inspiring you, because you were into punk and death. Were you into death metal at all?
I do love death metal. I love a bit of like that really like Golgoroth.
Yeah.
I love Golgoroth. I love death metal when it's also gay. I love Norwegian black metal when it's gay.
Like what?
Which is Golgoroth.
Yeah, I love that shit.
And it's like, it's so freezing cold there. And the music is just like, it's so cathartic to me. So I love the aesthetic.
Yeah.
And I love the lore. I think all of that is really interesting. So I don't think I could play metal just because I don't really know. I don't know how they make any of these chords. I'm not sure of the musical theory behind metal. My primary inspiration for songwriting right now is Paul Williams.
Yes.
It's like the Burt Bacharach, Paul Williams, that kind of like melodic expansiveness
Mm-hmm.
where you're using all of your fingers to make a chord. Like, to me, it's like, how do you even like it's that it's those B sharp sevens that are like, what do you like I'm like so into that. So to me, it's like those guys, those like it's musicianship, but it's also these chords that I didn't even think about.
Yeah. And you know,
like, how do you even
sorry. That's
Yeah.
I think that's why you like John Bryan's mixes. Because he has very wide mixes where you could hear those expansion chords and you could hear, you know, I think that's beautiful.
It's really beautiful. And he comes from it from like sort of, let's use all of the instruments to make a very simple song really expansive.
Mm-hmm.
So he's using a lot of different tones and everything, but they're all like kind of within a frame. So it's like using a lot of different colors, like pixels.
Right.
So I really love the way that he does that. So it's looking at music in a more expansive way. That's what I want to try to do. But bringing in those sort of 60s sounds, it's like when they started to like have synthesizers, and I like old synthesizers. I like it like a sort of a Moog moment,
or a
which
Juno.
I still cannot figure out. Yeah, super weird.
Yeah.
So I'm just learning.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I got two more questions and I'll let you go. What was your most toxic relationship and what was going on?
Oh, gosh, I don't know. Probably it's like this one guy, this is probably why I went to rehab, is because my friends were trying to get me away from him. But every time I would go away on tour, he would pretend to kill himself. So he'd send me photos of a bunch of pills and like then turn off his phone.
What?
So I couldn't reach him. And I wasn't exactly sure what city he was in because I had a place in San Francisco and I had a place in LA at the time. So then I was like, which city is he in? Which emergency services do I call? What do I do? Like, I was like, so, and then he was like upsetting me so much that I was like, that's when I was suicidal. Then I was like, I'll just break up with him by dying.
Oh my God.
Because I couldn't get rid of him.
Yeah.
So
Jesus
that was like
Christ.
Horrible. And then, so he lived in my house, and that's probably why I was in rehab for so long too, because they couldn't get him out.
Right.
And the sheriff finally came over, guns drawn, to try to get him out. And they came into my house, and they saw this figure in the bed, and it was a mannequin. It was my mannequin dressed in all my clothes and my wig, laying in my bed.
What?
And they were like, "What the fuck?" And it was just laying there, and nothing else was here. So he had sort of staged this weird fake me in my bed.
What were you so fascinated with this guy?
I wasn't, but he was just like, I was just wasted. And I woke up one day and he was here. He had been here for like 2 years. I was just high. I didn't know. This is why you shouldn't do drugs if you're disassociated, because like things that happen, like you have no idea what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like,
right.
that's the problem.
You're right.
So, usually people in relationship, even if they're fucked up, they know what's going on, but I had no idea.
Yeah. Fuck. Margaret, what a fucking life, bud. It's crazy. It's
crazy.
I mean, and through it all, you don't regret it all. You don't regret anything, right?
No. I mean, I'm doing really well, so I'm very happy.
Yeah, I'm so happy you found the light, and so happy you found purpose again, and you feel like you're glowing, and I really appreciate you being vulnerable like this. My last question, when it's all said and done, you're not scared of death, right? Are you scared of death? Or?
No.
Good.
No. It's the one certainty that we all have is that we will die. And that's really kind of beautiful, you know?
Yeah.
And it comes when it comes. So I am ready.
So when it comes, what do you want to be remembered by?
I think that I had fun, and that it was fun, and that I had lots to say and lots to remember me by. And so there's a lot of work out there, but that it was really a fun celebration.
Well, thank you for being a champion of fun, and I'll be rooting you on forever.
Thank you.
Have a great day, Margaret, and thank you so much. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Bye. Have a great one.
Bye.
Bye.